Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to trace the incredible path of medical discovery, starting with a disease that was caused by a single missing vitamin and ending with the incredibly complex genetic puzzles that AI is now helping us to solve.
It sounds like a strange riddle, right? But for centuries, this was a very real and very deadly medical mystery. And the answer? Well, it reveals just how far we've come in understanding what makes us sick and, more importantly, what it takes to make us well.
So, our journey starts with this devastating illness that earned itself a terrifying and, frankly, memorable nickname.
The name itself, pellagra, actually points directly to its most obvious and painful symptom. But that rough skin? Oh, that was just the beginning.
You see, pellagra was infamous for its brutal, predictable progression. If you didn't treat it, it moved through these 4 stages with this grim certainty, starting with the skin and ending, far too often, with death.
And this dermatitis wasn't just any old rash. No way. It was often perfectly symmetrical, showing up on hands, feet, and in this distinct band around the neck that doctors called the causal necklace. It was a clear, painful signal that something was deeply wrong inside the body.
For the longest time, the cause of pellagra was a complete mystery. I mean, was it some kind of infection? A toxin in the food? The truth, it turned out, was much, much simpler, and it was hiding in plain sight the whole time.
And the cause? A single nutrient. That's it. That entire cascade of horrific symptoms was all caused by a simple lack of vitamin B3, which we also know as niacin. It makes sense, right? The tissues in our body with the highest energy needs, like our skin, our gut, and our brain, they were always the first to fail without it.
What's so fascinating is that this wasn't just about diet. Sure, you could get what's called primary pellagra if you relied on corn, because the niacin in corn is basically chemically locked away. But you could also get secondary pellagra if your body simply couldn't absorb the niacin that was already there. 2 different paths to the exact same disease.
You know, this connection became so clear, so undeniable, that pellagra became a classic textbook case. I mean, this exact scenario is still used today to teach medical students how to recognize severe nutritional deficiencies by connecting a person's diet directly to their disease.
And once the cause was finally known, the cure was just dramatic. Diarrhea would often stop within days. The skin would start to heal in a couple of weeks. It was this perfect, clear-cut victory for nutritional science. One single cause, one single cure.
But, and this is a big but, most of the diseases we face today are not that simple, not even close. They represent a much larger, much more complex challenge for modern medicine. This, right here, is the fundamental question that has stumped researchers for decades, especially when they're studying complex conditions like Alzheimer's or heart disease or cancer. That whole one cause, one cure model, it just doesn't apply. We've known for a long time that these diseases run in families, which means they're heritable. But when scientists finally started mapping the human genome, they could only find a few genes that explained a tiny, tiny piece of that risk. All the rest of that genetic risk, it was just missing.
So where is all that missing risk hiding? Well, it's not in one place. It's spread across this incredibly complex network of factors. You know, some genes might only cause a problem when they interact with other genes, or their effect might not be a simple on or off switch. It's like a puzzle with thousands of tiny interconnected pieces.
To find these hidden connections, we needed a completely new tool, one that could see the complex patterns our existing methods were totally blind to.
Think of it like this. Our old statistical tools were like trying to solve a huge conspiracy by looking for a single culprit. They were great at finding that one missing vitamin kind of problem, but they completely missed the subtle collaborative effects of many, many genes working together.
Now, this slide might look a little complex, but it's essentially the blueprint for a new kind of genetic detective. It's called a kernel-based neural network, or KNN for short. Just think of it as a hybrid AI. It combines the pattern-finding power of deep learning with other statistical methods, all designed to hunt for those complex, hidden relationships in our DNA. So, what does this AI detective actually do? Well, it sifts through these massive genetic data sets, but it isn't just looking for individual bad genes. It's programmed to find the networks, the groups of genes that might be totally harmless on their own, but cause disease when they interact in very specific ways. And here's the fundamental difference in a nutshell. The old way, using tests like something called SCAT, was powerful but limited. It could really only find straightforward linear links.
The new KNN method, on the other hand, is built from the ground up to find the messy, complex, and interactive effects that make up the missing heritability.
And the results? They really do speak for themselves. In simulations using real human genetic data, the new KNN model consistently outperformed the old methods. It had significantly more statistical power, which just means it was much better at finding the true genetic signals hidden in all the noise.
All right, so let's just step back and look at the big picture here. What does this incredible technological leap actually mean for the future of medicine?
We've been on this incredible journey. We started by solving diseases like pellagra by finding just one missing piece. We're now in an era that's defined by this complex mystery of missing heritability. And we are absolutely heading toward a future where AI can help us finally read the full story written in our genes.
And this really brings us to the most important shift in our thinking. We're moving beyond fixing simple problems, like a single missing puzzle piece, and we're moving towards decoding a complex system. For the first time, we are truly learning to read our own biological source code.
You know, this isn't science fiction anymore. By finding the missing heritability for conditions like Alzheimer's or schizophrenia or heart disease, we open the door to entirely new ways of predicting, preventing, and treating them. So the question is no longer if we'll solve these puzzles, but which one is next.